I'm a 30-year-old woman, recently married with a 6-month-old son. My younger sister, aged 24, has never warmed to my husband and refuses to explain why. When I confronted her, she fabricated a story about him prying into her private journal and inquiring about a secret crush, but I caught her in the lie. When I first introduced my husband to my family, my sister was distant, though that's typical for her. She's introverted, has few friends, and rarely invites anyone to our family home. She's never been enthusiastic about meeting my partners. Before our wedding, I asked if she had any concerns about my husband, and she said he seemed fine. I invited her to be my maid of honor, assuming everything was okay. Last week, my husband stopped by my parents' house, where my sister lives, to drop off some groceries I'd sent. He returned looking rattled. He explained that he knocked, entered the kitchen, and found my sister there. She curtly informed him my parents were out and told him to leave the groceries in the garage, despite being in the kitchen. As he gathered the items to leave, he attempted light conversation about the weather. She snapped, accusing him of being overly familiar, and stormed off. My husband has never given me cause to question his behavior, but her reaction made me wonder if something inappropriate had happened. He was only gone for a few minutes as we live close by. I called my sister to ask what happened, but she hung up. I texted her repeatedly, and she ignored me until I persistently messaged her this morning, demanding resolution. She finally responded, admitting she's always despised my husband and wants no interaction with him. In the 7 years we've been together, they've barely spoken, maybe 5 brief exchanges, mostly polite greetings. I pressed for a reason, but she insisted she didn't need one and just wanted him to respect her boundary of not speaking to her. My family is tight-knit. My 29-year-old brother and I often visit our parents unannounced to help with dinner or spend time together. My parents love this, encouraging us to drop by. I told my sister it would be awkward if my husband couldn't even say hello when we visited. She called him a stranger invading her space. I was shocked she still viewed him as a stranger after 7 years. I promised not to send him alone to drop things off, but she clarified that wasn't enough. She wanted no communication with him at all. I agreed to relay this to him, but warned that her attitude would impact her time with my son, her nephew. My husband and I are uneasy about our son being around someone who harbors such resentment, fearing what she might say to him as he grows. This also affects my parents' time with their only grandchild, whom they adore and constantly ask to see. She accused me of playing the victim, portraying her as cruel, and disregarding her only boundary. I'm at a loss for how to move forward. Additional context and updates: I've discussed this with my parents. My mom plans to talk to my sister, but she keeps dodging the conversation, citing being busy or tired. My dad, recovering from a recent heart attack, thinks it'll blow over and asked me not to stress him out, so I dropped it for now. My husband is wonderful and has never given me reason to suspect inappropriate behavior with anyone. I briefly worried he'd done something when he described her outburst, as I couldn't fathom why she'd react so strongly to casual chat. But both he and my sister confirmed he did nothing wrong. My brother has had relationships but never introduced anyone to the family. I only brought partners home when I was serious about them, my husband and a college ex. My sister didn't warm to my ex either, though they had little interaction. My sister has always had a temper, snapping at me without apology, even when proven wrong, like accusing me of misplacing her belongings. This situation feels extreme compared to her past behavior. Update 1. The overwhelming responses have given me perspective, and I'm grateful. To clarify, I only considered my husband might have done something because my healthcare job trains me to examine all angles. My gut told me my sister was overreacting, but I wanted to understand her outburst. Both she and my husband say he did nothing, so I trust that. Growing up, my brother was the favored child, with my dad fixated on his legacy as the only son. My sister was my mom's favorite, often praised as her ideal daughter. I rebelled against my mom's expectations, wanting to please my dad by being tomboyish. Our relationships have since improved, but my sister and I only bonded in our teens over shared interests. My husband was thrilled to join my family, feeling closer to my parents than his own distant siblings. He was excited to have a sister-in-law, so this rift has upset him. I feel guilty for doubting him, even briefly. My sister agreed to discuss this with my dad present this afternoon, so I'll update after. Update 2. We met with my dad and sister earlier. My dad asked us both to share our sides. When pressed, my sister claimed she had a reason for disliking my husband but hesitated to share. After my dad's gentle urging, she said that when they first met, my husband asked about a man, let's call him Mr. K, whom she had a crush on and wrote about in her diary. She accused me of reading her diary and sharing it with my husband. I was stunned, as I didn't know she kept a diary, and I'd never violate her privacy, having been humiliated by a cousin who read my journal as a kid. I grew angry when I realized her story didn't add up. She met my husband 6 years ago, a year into our relationship. 2 years ago, she studied abroad for a year and developed a crush on a professor, Mr. K, whom a friend also mentioned. I pointed out the timeline discrepancy. How could my husband have asked about someone she met 4 years later? She froze, then deflected, saying I didn't understand how hard it was to have a stranger in her home before storming out. I'm heartbroken my son may grow up distant from his only aunt. We've had a decent relationship recently, sharing memes, traveling together, her being my maid of honor, and visiting me daily during my complicated postpartum recovery. I hope we can resolve this, but her lies and refusal to communicate leave me stuck. Edit 1. I asked my husband about Mr. K. He doesn't recall asking about any man and doesn't know the name. My husband and sister never dated. Our upbringing limited socializing, and his school and work were far from ours. My husband is black and we're Asian, but I don't believe my sister's issue is racial. She didn't like my Asian ex either, and she's friendly with our mixed-race cousins, including a black cousin-in-law. Edit 2. Many suggest racism, but I doubt it, given her equal dislike for my Asian ex and her good relationship with our diverse family. On mental health, I've suggested therapy for her anger issues, but she refuses. She's an adult, and I can't force her unless she's a danger to herself or others. I spoke to my dad again. He tried addressing it, but she's evasive. I told him my mom and he are welcome at my home, but I'll visit less due to safety concerns for my son and husband. My mom is frustrated with my sister and supports me. My sister threw a fit when my mom asked how she'd feel if someone treated my brother this way, suggesting she knows she's wrong. She can't move out yet, as she's jobless post-college. Despite our tension, I don't want her homeless. She's still my sister. She's been kind to my brother, claiming he's her only ally, but he's neutral, maintaining ties with both of us. Second story, I'm a 31-year-old female doctor working in the U.S., engaged to my 33-year-old American fiancé, with our wedding planned for early 2026. My brother, 26, and I have been estranged for years due to his arrogance and lack of remorse for past conflicts. Growing up, our mother, 62, favored him as the golden child, which he embraced. Our last major fight ended our contact, and I've accepted not having him in my life. My family lives abroad, and we're organizing a destination wedding. When my mother learned my brother didn't know about the wedding, she demanded I invite him and provide a visa invitation letter to improve his chances of entering the U.S. He's a student with few ties to our country, making visa approval unlikely. My parents, who have valid visas, offered to sponsor him. I firmly declined, citing our history and my desire to avoid stress on my wedding day. I don't want him near me or benefiting from my efforts. My mother argued he could stay separately and that she wanted the family united. I countered that her insistence prioritized his feelings over mine. She pressed, warning of family gossip if he's excluded. Frustrated, I said if she kept pushing, she'd be uninvited too. She called me ungrateful, citing their financial help with my costly medical exams as an international graduate, and said inviting him was the least I could do. I said I'd consider it to end the argument. Am I wrong for refusing to invite my brother? Is there a compromise, or should I hold firm? Comments and op responses: who's paying for the wedding? My fiancé and I are covering all costs with no family contributions. Comment 1, cultural nuances make this tricky. In my culture, you'd be justified. I'm saying you're not wrong. Op, thanks for the support. Posting this in my home country's forum would likely pressure me to compromise due to religious and family values. Being in the US has shifted my perspective. Comment 2, pay back the exam fees to end her leverage. Next, she'll ask you to help your brother financially or with a job. Op, I'm repaying the fees to avoid this. I'm tired of bailing out someone so disrespectful. Comment 3, don't reconsider. Your parents' support wasn't a loan for leverage. This is your day, not hers. Stand firm. Op, I'll say no definitively next time. My brother could cause trouble and I don't owe anyone this. Comment 4, inviting him risks visa issues and you could face penalties if he overstays. Future invites could be scrutinized. Op, good point. His vindictiveness could implicate me, and visa denials are common for less. Update: I told my mother to respect my decision. I pointed out that my brother, a grown man, hasn't reached out himself, suggesting her insistence is her agenda. I warned that any surprise moves would lead to her exclusion. She responded with yelling and religious guilt trips, claiming my marriage won't be blessed without both parents and questioning what I'll tell my future kids about their uncle's absence. She accused the U.S. of changing my family values. My father, who's supportive and disapproves of my brother's behavior, will likely understand once informed. I expect my mother to stonewall me, as she's done before, avoiding accountability. I'm leaning toward no contact, as her favoritism and disregard for my boundaries confirm it's healthiest. I understand her protectiveness. My brother's childhood illnesses made him her focus, but her excusing his toxic behavior as necessary for his career is unfair. I faced similar pressures as a doctor without acting like him. Cultural expectations complicate this, but I'm firm. Security will ensure no disruptions at my wedding.